Have you ever taken a moment to stand still and appreciate the presence of even the simplest furnishings around you? Whether it's the subtle fragrance in the air, a cherished piece of jewelry, or the rhythmic movement of the hands on an antique clock that seems to bring a room to life. That was precisely the sentiment that washed over me as I crossed the threshold of our newly acquired house, hand in hand with my handsome fiancée. We both allowed our feet to rest on the solid wooden floor beneath us, a stark departure from the well-worn carpets and cold, unfeeling concrete basements we had grown accustomed to throughout our lives. The ceiling, extending to a fairly lofty height, instantly alleviated my perennial claustrophobia. A beautifully integrated fireplace adorned the left wall of the room, emanating warmth and casting a comforting glow. The centerpiece of the room, without a doubt, was the elegant spiral staircase leading up to the second floor. However, an even more captivating and intriguing detail awaited us, a feature that truly set this house apart from the rest. The wallpaper. The wallpaper, a mesmerizing combination of black, gray, and white, was adorned with an ever-evolving pattern. At times it seemed as if simple black lines were engaged in an intricate dance, just a few centimeters above the base of the wall. In other areas, those patterns transformed into the distinct outlines of various objects, ranging from stairs to lamps. Unlike the conventional, unchanging wallpaper one typically encounters in a house, this one displayed a chameleon-like quality, shifting and transforming its appearance every few steps you took. It was almost as though the wallpaper's sole purpose was to disrupt the predictable cadence of the rest of the house. I'm aware that some may find its unconventional aesthetics disconcerting, but to me, there was an undeniable beauty in this artistic cacophony. My fiancée mirrored my sentiments, her eyes wide with wonder, and her smile exuding warmth. This new chapter in our lives was a much-needed change for her, especially given the emotional turmoil she had endured in her previous marriage. Her past relationship had been teetering on the precipice of disintegration, as it so often does in the presence of an unsupportive and occasionally aggressive partner. Witnessing the joy in her eyes, which contrasted sharply with the turmoil of her past, was genuinely heartwarming. As night descended, we both decided to retire early, around 7 o'clock. However, as the night progressed, a sudden and thunderous noise jolted me awake, akin to the caffeinated beating of a drum. My fiancée, a sound sleeper, remained undisturbed. The noise was accompanied by soft, indistinct voices and eerie, scratchy sounds reminiscent of a cat clawing at the walls. Fearing a potential break-in, I resolved to investigate the source of these strange sounds. We were, after all, new residents in the neighborhood, making us susceptible targets for burglars. But the investigation I undertook yielded far more questions than answers. With great caution, I ventured out of the bedroom, taking deliberate steps to avoid alerting any potential intruders. Although I was unarmed, my insatiable curiosity overwhelmed any trepidation I felt. What I encountered as I turned the corner left me utterly dumbfounded. Blinking in disbelief, I beheld a sight that sent shivers racing down my spine. It appeared as though a miniature silhouette was moving behind the wallpaper, synchronizing its movements with the black lines on the wall. The figure darted across the wall, disappearing around a corner. In an uncharacteristic decision, I chose to follow this peculiar apparition. Upon entering the adjacent hallway, the inexplicable became even more surreal. I could have sworn that the diminutive man from the wallpaper leaped out into the hallway and then promptly vanished. Following this unfathomable phenomenon, the wallpaper underwent a dramatic transformation, its vibrant patterns replaced by a monochromatic yellow. It was as if someone had meticulously painted over them from both sides. The only explanation I could muster for this bewildering event was sheer exhaustion. Seeking solace and eager to put the chaos behind me, I returned to bed, convinced that I was merely dreaming the entire adventure. However, rousing from my brief slumber the next morning was a far from straightforward experience. I had slept only a few hours before my fiancée roused me, her smile as radiant as the morning sun. Trembling with excitement, she clutched a peculiar-looking marker and professed her affection, recounting the heartfelt words I had supposedly spoken to her in the midst of the night. I was utterly flummoxed. "What do you mean?" I queried. She exclaimed, "You handed me this marker and professed your desire to be with me forever, to welcome me into your home. You assured me that nothing, not even walls, could come between us. It was so sweet to hear." Unable to explain the inexplicable, I peered into her sparkling brown eyes and replied, "Of course I apologize. I'm still half asleep. I love you dearly." Stepping out of the room and heading towards the kitchen, I announced my intention to prepare her favorite breakfast of eggs and bacon. However, before reaching the kitchen, I couldn't resist a quick exploration of the guest room on the same floor, an area I hadn't yet fully examined. The room featured an unusual entryway with a tinted glass door, hinting at its temporary living quarters. As I entered, an unsettling feeling washed over me. The room's walls were painted a deep, foreboding shade of red, and the floor appeared to be covered in some kind of paper. What truly perturbed me were the crudely drawn humanoid faces that adorned the walls, their ink-black eyes fixated on me. It was as though I was enveloped in an eerie solitude, my sense of reality slowly unraveling. But the crescendo of dread reached its pinnacle when I heard a woman's terrified scream. Panic-stricken, I sprinted back to our bedroom, only to find the door slightly ajar. My fiancée's face was etched in black ink on the red wallpaper, but she was nowhere to be found. A thorough search of the entire house yielded no trace of her. All that remained was a letter on the floor, its message haunting and repetitive. "Not even walls can come between us."